3, 2, 1.
Hey guys, so I'm here at Nanchangji with the Canon F1N, and I'm gonna put an expired roll of Fuji Super 400 in. It was expired in 2009, so I'm gonna rate it as 200, so I'll stop down and hopefully get some decent shots. Yeah, so let's put in the film. You can watch the background. Yeah, good to go. It's in. So now I'm just gonna fire off some test shots. I think let's go f5.6 at I think probably 500. It's 5,000.
Hey, good people of the internet. Happy New Year, 新年快乐, gelukkige nieuwe jaar, whatever other way you should say it. Happy New Year. So, yeah, I'm Darren, and welcome to another episode of Filmstock Tryouts with the hashtag. Let's get into it, shall we? Another expired film stock, and yeah, I love expired film. The unpredictability of it, and the cool, unusual surprises you get. So, although unlike the last expired film I shared, this is not slide film, but regular color negative film. So Fuji color films are pretty famous for their greens, and even in this expired roll, the greens are superb. I love them. I shot the expired Fujichrome, which you can check out, and I shot this, and I shot Fuji Extra, and all of them have pretty strong greens that I love. So let's maybe dive in to my brief breakdown of this film and what I think it's good for. Hopefully brief. So yeah, what do I think? Quickly a breakdown. Exposure latitude, it does really well, even expired. 2 stops over, I think. There were a few shots that I did expose quite well over, and I think you can maybe push it to about 1 stop under if you're lucky. I didn't do all that much. There was 1 or 2 shots that were quite heavily underexposed, and you would notice that they are quite grainy and obviously underexposed. Sharpness, it's actually still really, really sharp. Even though it's expired, it has really fine details, and the textures sharp quite clearly. The clarity and sharpness of this film is still really strong, and I think it's one of its strong points. And then contrast, it's a pretty punchy film stock, I think, with a heavy hand of contrast, although that also adds to it, and yeah, it's just enjoyable with the contrast. I like a contrasty look. I think even in color I do like that, so this is good for that. And then grain, being expired, this film is bound to have more grain than most, but the images still hold up well even with pretty prominent grain. Grain is still fairly small, fairly fine, but it is prevalent on every image, and obviously much worse on underexposed images or in shadows. It's still a pretty fine grain, so that's at least, it doesn't overwhelm the image. It kind of just adds to the character of the image, and that's just like the 4-5 points that I like break down each roll of film that I shoot with. So yeah, I enjoy this stock, and obviously you'll be seeing some photos as I go through talking about it. What do I think it's good for? Almost everything. The colors are really, really beautiful, especially the reds and the greens. The reds are very strong, very vibrant, and very just prominent in the image. And the greens are also, it's a Fuji green. It's a little bit blue, but it's green, and it adds a lot of Fuji character to the shots. The skin tones can be a touch warm, I think, but not that bad. And the sharpness and overall clarity definitely helps every image. It's rather breathtaking. And just a little bit about this roll that I shot, or where I shot it. I shot it at Nanchang Street, which is like a pedestrian tourist street here in Wuxi. So and I shot it on a very overcast day, so it wasn't the best lighting, but that also shows how contrasty this film is, because overcast is not necessarily the best conditions. It gives you very flat lighting, which doesn't help contrast. And the fact that this film managed to come out with such a heavy contrast still shows how contrasty it is. So yeah, just that environment that I was in, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of architecture, older Chinese architecture, and there's a lot of cultural colors going on. So there's a lot of reds and greens and yellows, which I think that's a really cool scene or setup for this kind of film stock, which is why I chose it. And yeah, so I think it would shine with environmental outdoor portraiture, or maybe not really close-up portraiture, but within the environmental outdoors. I used it for street, and I did some portraiture as well, and I underexposed the portraits actually, and that was not on purpose. That was me not being able to read the scene correctly, light for the scene. But yeah, if you're shooting anything that has greens and reds and you want to give them a bit of prominence, this is a film stock to go for. If you can find it expired, that would be cool, but if not, I suspect that it would still be even better then for street portraiture, environmental portraiture, that kind of thing. So yeah, that's my thoughts on Fuji Super 400. I did make a mistake on my Instagram, because when I got it back from the lab had accidentally labeled the scans from the Super 400 as Extra 400 and the Extra 400 as Super 400. So I labeled it was on my Instagram incorrectly, but I then eventually did figure it out, so I'm going to fix all that. But yeah, if you didn't maybe notice that on Instagram, I apologize for my mistake and the lab's mistake. Hey, we all make mistakes, and that's how we live. But yeah, Fuji Super 400, an excellent stock. I would recommend you try it out if you haven't, and I'd love to see your Super 400 shots if you have any. So share them with me on Threads or Instagram at Darren A. Fielding. And then yeah, now for one of my favorite parts, community highlights. And for this one, we're highlighting Dede Dos. He said I can say it however I want to. So I don't know. I think in the Japanese, from the very, very minute amount that I know, that they would say Dede and not DD. So just because living in China, it's a little bit similar, and they would say Dede, they wouldn't say DD for DE. So yeah, Dede Dos or DD Dos. From an incredible photographer from Okinawa Island in Japan. Dede started shooting with digital 10 years ago and then turned to film about 2 years ago, so still relatively new on film. But Dede loves to shoot along or in the ocean with the underwater camera Nikonos. Dede has a distinct aesthetic with a love for light leaks and backlighting. A lot of Dede's images are of surfers or surfing action, the ocean, and they have a look about them. There's a distinct style and aesthetic going on that is really pleasurable going through and just taking in all Dede's images. So check out Dede's Instagram page, Dede_dos, DEDE_DOS. Dede is inspired by lo-fi music, collage artists, and the experimental culture of lomography, and that's really cool because I can resonate with that. I like experimenting. I like the experimental culture of lomography, the community that lomography creates. But I also like the experimental culture and community that just of film and photography and just anything creative, and lo-fi music, which I also make lo-fi music. Random plug. But yeah, check out Dede Dos, and if you would love to maybe have your stuff or your pages featured, if you want to join the community, then just follow me or whatever on Threads, on Instagram, and maybe join the community. We do have a Discord. There's not many people on it, but I mean, it's there, and I would love to have a community there. I'm also part of the Urban Photographers Club, and they were one of the selection for Photography Community of the Year in the UK, which was really, really amazing. So yeah, check them out, and yeah, let's just learn and grow together. So secret phrase, let's have it as that: learn and grow together. That's the secret phrase for this week's episode. And yeah, I've got some cool stuff coming up hopefully throughout the year, and I really appreciate and love that you guys have given me your time and your thoughts in the comments, and follow me in Threads or wherever. Just appreciate that. It really is appreciated. For my 133 subscribers, you guys are appreciated, and you inspire and encourage me to keep on making stuff. So even when it's difficult, like days like today, you guys are the reason that I am filming this right now. So yeah, it really is appreciated, just the fact that you take out a little time in your week to watch and respond or share these videos. So yeah, enough of me. Thank you guys. Just keep making stuff. That's the motto. So yeah, just keep making stuff and be blessed. See you guys soon. Cheers.